What's up, Aquarius? Holler at your boy for one-on-one reading. As always, runningguntarot.com. Feel free to like, share, follow, comment, subscribe. Check out Running Gun Tarot YouTube live stream. Catch a live reading there. Got a deal where the readings are only $4.40. It's the end of the month special. Private readings available. Let's jump right into the reading. You already know what it is. I'm going to try to make my intros a lot shorter. Okay, you got the Hermit in the reverse here. This is the home front. Okay, this is, where the magic happens. Because it's mainly or partly where the manifestation happens. Ten of Cups in the reverse. Something is incomplete. A puzzle is missing. A piece of a puzzle is missing. You're seeing that. You're kind of still maybe a little perplexed or perturbed are the words that come to mind. How things could have made their way to this becoming, this falling out. It's almost as if you're still not over something. That's one channel that you're operating on. Another channel that you're operating on is manifestation. It's calling in that which you want to create, and that which you want to make, and that's a little bit about what we did, Eight of Wands in the reverse, by the way, in the reading before this. Where you just say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Highest of highs, enlightenment, open heart, grounded, secure, safe, sound, riches, health, wealth, abundance, fame, fortune, gratitude, peace, harmony, joy, ecstatic, ecstasy, magic, magical, fun, bliss. I think shit like that goes a long way, believe me. And it's money, finance, career, but it's all energy, right? Energy, I think, is sexier than just finance, career. I mean, money has a stigma to it. But it's just energy at the end of the day. So it's and the people with money want youth, or they want their health, or they want less to worry, or more time with their family. So it's maybe it's not just about money, it's more so about the energy and the momentum and the magic and the spark that you could put out there in the world. So that's what's kind of coming across. And so I hope that when you see these readings, everyone gets excited. And I do want that. Part of me wants that. I want that excitement feeling when you see the titles of this reading. But really, that's what we're manifesting here. We're manifesting excitement and joy and abundance and fun and bliss and a bright future to look towards. Look how beautiful that is. That is I could get into things, and it's exciting, and it's excitement, and I'm following where that rush is. Look at how exciting this is. Look at all that. And it's I know I'm probably guilty where it's I don't give that its due. But that's pretty damn cool. And you could have someone that's manifesting you. You know what I'm saying? That which I want wants me. That which I am calling and magnating and pulling in, magnetizing, is doing the same for me. And that's how our parallel realities meet in the 3D, through the quantum. Now, the Devil card is more so the opposite of that. It's saying that, not a lot is possible, or we're just here in this dwelling. It kind of suggests that, a damp, dark environment, breakthroughs don't happen, things like that. And, not about that. Okay, so don't partake in that kind of mindset. Okay. Tap into the feeling of yes, fuck yeah, I knew that would happen. Thank you. Yes. Oh God, such a relief. Yes. You get chills, you know what I'm saying? Tap into that and let that be the driving force. It sounds so funny, but it's that's what it is. It's I don't care if you want to call it like mental masturbation or put a negative definition on it, but it's like, I do think that you have to tap into the energy, and like you send a ripple in the quantum fabric of space-time reality, and it's like, yes, I'm tapping into that, like I made it. I'm tapping into that clutch. I made that game-winning free throw, or with like 20,000 people looking at me, or like I did what I was supposed to do, and I've done everything right, and I'm killing it. I killed it. I broke through. There was a breakthrough. Money tree, gold, copper, wealth, health, like just, I don't know, just that energy, just that like excitement. That's what we're talking about, and you want to make sure to talk about it. That's another reason why I like actually doing these videos, is I get to kind of talk about that stuff. We spend so much of our day listening to others, and we don't really necessarily always have the time to just talk about the things that we want, or the things that we want to tune into and tap into. Could be a loss of direction. And again, so here's the thing. I think the highest form of achievement as far as manifestation is letting go of that which you desire. So letting go of desire. So this is my castle. This is my empire. This is my mansion. You know what I'm saying? Like flipping that switch in your mindset to where you see yourself, where you want to be. Like, this is exactly where I want to be. This is who I want to be. This is what I want to be. This is what I want to do. I'm happy, I'm whole, I'm complete, I'm excited, I'm fulfilled. And so everything comes to me. Everything magnates to me. Everything monetizes and magnetizes to me. I'm attracting abundance, health, wealth. But also in the quantum, it's already here. So I get to relax and enjoy it still. So it's both channels. And it's almost as if you're speaking from or for all those various channels, because it's all already here. It's like someone that knows it anyways. Like, I know it's going to happen anyways, so I get to just chill and relax and do what I would want to do anyways. And if that's a form of creation and creativity and creating, I think I just made a word there, createment. Okay. Then creation, I think, is the word, the right word. Then cool, so be it. But I think that there's like a way to move about energetically, and that comes from the story that you tell yourself. And the truth is that the story could be, in the 3D realm, a complete lie, but in the quantum, you're saying how it is. I'm in my mansion. I'm a millionaire. I'm a $500 trillionaire. I have a wife and kids and a car and this and that I want, and I'm happy and I'm whole and I'm complete. Thank you. And so you're dwelling in that form of fulfillment. And then in the 3D, now everything follows from that era of like fulfillment, or that era of fulfillment. So, it's so ass backwards. Like, don't get me wrong. It's like, it's ass backwards. But if we've learned anything from this past decade or whatever, or just life, it's that it's fucking not based on 1, 2, 3 ABC logic and reason. It's based on, ass backwards. So really consider that about what you're thinking and what you're doing as far as like energetic and energies, and like, because I think that there's so much power in the state of being. And it's like, okay, we shut off the camera and then we go back to the default mode of like on this and that and that. But it's like, no, I think you really got to tell yourself that like you're in a wonderland and this is magical and this is my time and this is prime time and I can do anything and the best comes from me and I'm what's happening now. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. But you're going to be challenged from your internal interface because all you've been taught was the language of logic and reason. And now you have to like learn a new language. Like I don't have to fight those fights anymore. You know, and yeah. You know, I'm thinking about what Lady Gaga said in an interview one time, in a radio interview. She was saying, like, now's my time. And it kind of puts you on the precipice of, like, the cutting edge. And, you know, pressing piano keys and gold is falling out of the notes that you're making type energy. And I notice even within myself, like, yeah, my ego doesn't want to admit that she has a bar there. But it's like, it's true. It's based on truth. It's rooted in maybe universal truth. Like, this is my time. This is the conception of myself's time. I'm what's happening. I'm what's hip. I'm what's cool. I'm what's, you know, the tip of the spear. And you could have that mindset. Because it's all subjective. And I mean, you kind of got to be wired in a way, I think, because as someone that listens to that interview and also who does music, I kind of listen to it and like I'll admit there's a part within my ego that I could see that I'm like, well, like not wanting to give credit to that bar or to that truth, like now's my time. Like, okay, whatever, but there still has to be some like underlying motives or motivations or incentives or momentum or like a background or a pedigree. So those do come into play. And so then things become relative again, and then you don't gotta fight so much in the regard of not giving someone, you know, their due for a bar. But it's like, yeah, it's everyone's time. It's just that I guess we don't go around saying that because, not because it's crazy, but because it's like, you also got to run on like a lot of fuel. And I think that someone like that is running on fuel of like attention, being a woman, and it's like the rules are broken and different and bent, and it's like maybe you could sell your soul to be at where she's at right now, and it's like then it goes into like women's sexuality and then like monetizing like breakups and, you know, relationships, and like it just gets into this whole thing. But it's like the fact that a truth can come from someone like that, and don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against her, it's just more so that I'm noticing that like my ego is noticing something about that. And I think it's that maybe something wants to say that like it's not that easy, or, and I guess the truth is that it is kind of easy, but you just got to really kind of, again, to go back, put yourself in a position to where you really are not worried about bills and you really are zeroed in and focused. And maybe that's another part of manifestation, is where you got to tell yourself and teach yourself, you know, that's easy, I could do this, it's gonna happen, I can make sacrifice, or maybe not even use the language of sacrifices, like something where you psych yourself into doing something that you want to do creatively, you know. And like I said, maybe it's very under your nose, very succinct, maybe it is very much so a matter of like, for one, it could be tricky. For me, it could be easy. Like, again, it's like, I don't know that you could hold it against yourself for not telling yourself a story in a language that has yet to be created, if that makes any sense. Like, if I'm gonna get up and go drink water or something like that, like that's a language and that's based on reason that like I want water or I'm thirsty. So it's like for me, like if Lady Gaga's talking in a language of something that like, if someone was like a woman transitioning into a man and I said something that's so easy for a man like me, but it seems like it's not for someone else, then it's like it kind of falls on deaf ears, or kind of falls into the category of like easy for you to say, and then I guess that's like default human nature. And so I guess in a way what's being asked of, I guess, the universe and the galaxies and the cosmos is to go against the default assumption, because even that default assumption is something taken for granted. And yet you need to still toe that line and find a fine balance of taking something for granted, or else you'd never walk out the door. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and then it's like, like you could say that it's a pretty line, it's a pretty bar, but it's like, what happens when you're 50? Do you still feel that way, Lady Gaga? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, maybe it's easy to say it's my time now when it's literally your time and you're a millionaire on top of the world. So you know what I'm saying? But I think that the kind of granular truth of saying there, you know, little qubit of like universality is that maybe, I don't know if I would consider myself the common man, or I don't know if like, I don't know where the game's at as far as, you know, I think it comes down to the feelings and the unconscious feelings of, I can be comfortable enough to spend the whole day doing music, and it's not about the money, it's about the passion, it's about the interest. I mean, that's another thing. Like if somebody holds a standard for themselves to like do music and create art and do that, versus they're really not driven as much or motivated as much to do that, then they're not pursuing it. It's easier to like pursue other things. So I do think it's a matter of also like being reinforced at a certain age or at a certain time and having that momentum and the resources. You know what I'm saying? So, but if I'm arguing for a position where somebody can be motivated to take up or invest time in the arts, where, I mean, what are you doing it for? Are you doing it for like the fun and the curiosity, or are you doing it for a means to an end? Like it just kind of depends on the circumstance. You know what I'm saying? And there are other outlets of like creativity. Like to me, I think this is creative to talk on camera. Like, but yeah, I just remember seeing that interview of Lady Gaga and her saying like, as an artist, you have to tell yourself like, now is your time. But then it's like, again, there's so much that kind of goes into that as far as like motivation. Because I could write something and I could be like, this is the cutting edge, you know. And I think there's value in that. I think that there's value in saying, you know, the words I write, like, this is the cutting edge. I think there's value and there's truth there. And I can't be mad at that. And I think that when you do look at things in that way, you're right, it throws out, and like, because this is like, you say like, this is millions. yeah, and when I start to like write that down and think about that and point that to my work, whether it's poetry or lyrics or music, yeah, I think that that's brilliant. Like, I can't be mad at that. But I wouldn't necessarily fault someone for, the Nine of Wands came out in the last reading, and that was a bit of like it's kind of like a stance of like, easy for you to say. But if you could take the granular universal and it's fucking bars and it's the keys, and you apply it to what you're doing, then that could be fruitful and that could ripen and that could bear reward. And that's what I'm like, I think that we get hung up on things for a reason, egoically, because it's the soul wanting to fight through the ego and get to that universal truth, or the spirit or what have you. But, for it to come from her and she's saying, I'm what's happening now, like, I'm, yeah, it makes you look differently at what it is that you're writing and what it is that you're creating. The Sun card just comes out here, which is brilliant. But I'm trying to ask myself, and you're watching me play out how my thoughts play out live, why, as somebody that, with my relationship to music, why does that make me feel some type of way? Because the ego thinks that it's just based off of resources and momentum and backing. But I'm feeling the feeling of, this is a cutting edge, this is millions, this is worth, this is value. You know what I'm saying? And so then that offsets anything in regards to momentum and backing. And so I guess in a weird way, it's like, be mindful of when you're bitter, because you could have a choice to apply some sort of key to success. And it might be worth revisiting if something is stuck in your craw, So instead of being bitter and saying, where you were backed and you had a foundation and you had a pedigree of instrumentation or piano or money or supportive family or whatever. Well, guess what? The feeling offsets all of that. That's what we're saying when we're talking about manifestation. So, now that's value, because now that's empowering to you. But when somebody is saying that, coming from where they're coming from, the kind of 99% get caught in the ego trap of, easy for you to say, you come from there, you come from there. But guess what? That's the very same language that says you don't have access in the here and now. So it does require someone with the spiritual goggles to be like, I could use that, and that offsets, paradoxically or ironically, where she came from, which may have been that, with backing and a pedigree and maybe a little bit of a privilege or a silver spoon or support or being a woman or whatever ego advantage construct one would come up with. So, we just stumbled across something fucking very valuable then, which is, wait, and guess what? You win because you get the credit, because you suss through the ego to see it, the grain of universal truth. And I don't even know that she was necessarily meaning to say all that, but I put all of that on that, and I've been able to, in this moment, you know what I'm saying, if we're able to say that, like, because the statement is about giving relevancy to the now, right? And I mean, it's I'd be hard pressed to try to figure out where her mindset is at, but all I can say is that it's easy for people to be resentment towards someone and be like, easy for you to say you have this and you have that and you have that, and that might be valid and that might be easy for her to say. In which case, what? It's still something that's arrived at? It's still something true? You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's something objectively out there that could be attained or reached, and maybe she did have a step up or a leg up, but she got there in a way, and I'm getting there in a way. And maybe the way that I'm getting there is just as privileged as the way that she's getting there. Because in order to suss out the ego, that's coming from a place of privilege too. You know what I'm saying? That's high-minded shit that we're talking about here. So if someone is speaking on a universal truth that they've arrived to, and you're able to integrate it, and that gives you value to now what you create as far as the word or the spoken word, or even now, why limit it to guitar and poetry? Like, this is the cutting edge. This is what's happening now in tarot and in high-minded philosophy and quantum and thought and astrology and spirituality and philosophy. This is what's happening now. So, so if she's making a statement of something that she can bear credence to because she has a platform, and whether it's called privilege or something, she's able to attain it and see it and then speak to it, and you're able to, well, maybe people think it's just a tin star, like emptiness, nothing, it's a penny, no value. Okay, and then maybe someone comes along and finds value in it. Okay, then what does that mean? Well, it kind of means that those who are able to attain value from that are all kind of like on the same playing field as like universally privileged. I mean, regardless of your politics or your sexual politics or like, your ideology or your way of being as a person, your belief set, your belief system, the fact that I could comprehend that means that like I'm equal to her or something. And then, but then it's human nature to like, I don't know, do we unconsciously put ourselves down? I mean, I guess we put ourselves down if we don't have money as much as somebody. Or we try to put them down? This is deep stuff. I'll probably make a part 2 if I get interrupted, but I'm just trying to think, like, Because upon first blush, the ego responds and says it's easy for you to say, but then upon second blush, you realize that it's a revelation and it's brilliant, and that maybe you share the same privilege that she does. And so maybe me and her aren't so far distant. And then upon another wave of blushes, you have the ego separating you from her due to money, due to sexual lifestyle or politics. And it's all trying to separate you from each other, which is all ego, which is what we could see. And yet she's sharing some relevancy to ears that could hear it, or souls that can give value to it. Something that is a universal truth that maybe already exists objectively, which is there's value to anything that you say or write or something, because you give it value based on your understanding that it's the cutting edge, based on the understanding that you are what's happening right now. Therefore, you are making art, you are creating reality, you are having an influence right now. And that's the highest value that you could have, is that you have an influence now. And of course, I don't know where my pen's at. So, that being said, then the highest value becomes influence. I mean, look at Mr. Beast, and it's no longer money. So then, what? Maybe someone with like privilege or platform or whatever gets access to a universal truth, whether they're intended it or not, to speak so profoundly, okay? Right? So that's her fortunate, son. That's her fortune, or I don't know if you want to say privilege, but and she speaks to it, and you're able to retain it and have value for it. But the same way that she was only able to attain it from a place of privilege, you are able to attain it from a place of privilege. So how can you hate on that? So there's equivalency there, equivocation. So what? And then you could use it, because now you have the Midas touch, quantumly, because you're what's happening now, and you've sussed and you've realized that you've sussed out the fact that the highest form of value is influence in the moment, which is now. Creating reality, history, all that stuff. That's the highest value on the market today. It's interesting. And then that's how you could now it's like you're pulling jewels from thin air. But the ego would wanna not have you know that. That's interesting. The ego would want to not have you know that, or the devil would want to not have you know that. And I guess the devil is like opposite of creation. It's destruction. And making music is glorifying God. But then what's... I guess evil creation would be making evil that's conducive to destruction. Or... creating like evil music would be, in a paradoxical way, creating music that's conducive to destruction. So make music that's conducive to creation. And that's good music. Conducive to creation. Good music. Or procreation. But then there's also like varying levels of like love or lust. That's interesting. And that's how you like send ripples into the quantum, you know? And then that's like a karmic debt reflection of you. That's fascinating. But if I'm like, yeah, so it's like the very ego / devil within yourself is the one that would want to dash someone that's giving you a key to your own liberation. And it does that by saying, by differentiating itself. Hypocritically. Not based on reason. That's fascinating. And so then you're stuck. That's interesting. And yet you're still as privileged as she is in that you're able to comprehend and use it. So how do you feel about that then? You know what I'm saying? Like, Because the only reason why you would be jealous of like her money is because the ego is saying that you can't do that. But the truth is you can do that. So then it becomes what? That person, it's like someone on that side of the room has early access to something on that side of the room. So then, or because they've been in the room longer, and then they tell you about it, and then you're like, oh shit, okay, and they tell you where it is. And it's like, well, it's because they had early access to the room. But the ego would want to like frame it as like, oh, you can't say that it's because you didn't, like, you're less. It's so fucking interesting. You know, like, I've been here longer, so I found this behind this. Oh, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the fact that you're even in the same vicinity to kind of get that understanding is like, well, we're in the same boat. Very fascinating. I'm in the same boat as Lady Gaga. Or an artist or a musician or anyone who's trying to write gold. Or speak gold. That's fascinating. Alright, I don't know what the fuck to do with that. I mean, yeah, any hate that you now, and like I said, like, you could still have your politics and like your beliefs, but it's like, don't let it, I guess, destroy the common ground that you do have with somebody. Or don't, in the very least, don't let it sabotage you from attaining some sort of key to fucking self-liberation. You know what I'm saying? Which is like, I'm the shit, this is a place to be here and now. On God. Like, y'all should be watching this and listening to this. Fucking fascinating. Alright, I guess I'll leave it there. If I think of more, I'll do another one. Pisces is after this. We'll see what happens there. Alright, love you guys. Reach out for reading, because I'm what's happening now, bitch. I'm the tip of the spear in regards to philosophy and tarot. Love you guys. Peace.